Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. And these are the 5 top things that are going to help you become a funded trader. Now, number 1 is having a long-term vision. This is super important. Rather than coming in with a 30-day quick fix mindset, whether you're changing strategies or jumping to a new mentor, new community, the best thing to do is to commit yourself to something for a minimum 3, 6, 12 months and then think long term, because it's not just learning a strategy, it's also changing the way you think, you act, behave, the way you perceive things. For example, you may trade off the daily and then transitioning to a community where they're taking 1-minute entries is a completely different kettle of fish. You're going from potentially 1 or 2 positions a week down to 1 to 2 positions a day. You could also come from 12 to 18 months of smart money, lower time frame concepts, trading off the 5 seconds, and then shift to a concept like what we trade with the power of 2 4-hour directional buys, 15-minute entry. So again, you're going from 3 to 5 entries a day to 3 to 5 entries a week, depending on how many pairs you trade. So having that long-term vision in terms of your learning process is super key, but also from a results-based process, especially in trading and anything business related. You would go and open some kind of brick and mortar business, a gym, a cafe, a barber's hair salon, whatever it is, and you can't expect that within a really small period of time, like 30 to 60 days, you're gonna see any kind of results. It's really just starting that mechanism rolling, those cogs moving, and feeding the machine for a longer term result. The same thing with trading. Wherever you are now, whether you're still learning, whether you're at the very beginning of your journey, or whether you're 3 or 4 years deep and you've just had lots of distractions, but you're still committed to it. If you move to another strategy, or even if you're fixed on a strategy for 3 or 4 months, and you're taking some hits, you're doing the break-even dance, maybe you're a bit in drawdown on a funding challenge right now, just think, well, how long has that period been? Are you suffering inside a couple of weeks, or are you suffering for a month or 2? Really, in the grand scheme of things, even 1 or 2 months in the trading game and in the business game is not an awful large sample size. So just expand that time horizon when it comes to your learning process, and also that time horizon where your perspective is in terms of results and long-term growth. I'll just pause the video there and give you a little bit more information about who I am. If you didn't know already, my name's Scott Taylor. I'm a co-founder of Evolution Markets FX, where we help create traders following a mechanical rule-based system, trading off the higher time frame, helping our traders go from 0 to funded within a period of 6 to 12 months. We teach with a full broken down video course library that you can see here. Every element of the strategy is broken down, including fundamentals, technicals, psychologicals, and more. We also have a Discord community where like-minded traders and a professional group help each other out, and it's where you can ask the coaches questions, you can celebrate your wins, and everybody grows together. Just like our successful traders like these who have gained funding recently, and those that are achieving regular payouts like these. So if you're interested in learning our mechanical trading edge and becoming consistent, profitable, and funded, look at the description below and there'll be some links to join the mentorship. Anyway, back to the video. The second one is having systems and processes, and I'm going to keep relating trading to typical business because they do come hand in hand. If you were to run a business and you had a team, what would you want your team to follow? Instructions, rules, right? And if you know that that business will perform well, if you and your team follow those set rules, those systems and processes that either you've put in place or some kind of manager or mentor has put into place, you know that things are going to run smoothly, right? But what happens if you have one team out of the 10 that you've got that's trying to rock the boat too much, thinking, I'm going to do things differently today, or I'm going to try something new this week? You're going to get a bit of anxiety, first of all, because you're not too sure. This is a bit unknown. You're like, normally would just stick by the rules and things tend to work, but this person wants to rock the boat a bit too much here. And okay, it's risky and it might play out, but also there's a lot of risk, and you hold the risk as the business owner, or the business itself is holding the risk if that doesn't play out. And that can feed into the rest of the team. If they're seeing this one person is breaking the rules, then they're going to do the same thing and your business suffers. From a trading point of view, it's the same thing. You have a mechanical edge, or you should have a trade plan that's written down somewhere that you've tested vigorously and live traded for a portion, whether it's on a demo or a small personal account, way before you go into a funding challenge, because you know that the stats play out, you know what scenarios work, you know what to wait for, and you have the confidence, the patience, and the discipline to allow it to play out over time. But if you were sat there after maybe 4 or 5 days without taking a single position, and you thought, I feel like I should be in the market, I'm just going to bend my rules because this looks like it's going short. You take the trade, it loses. What have you done? You've basically broken your rules. You've decided to trade emotionally, and you've not followed the system and trusted the process that you had in place. The other thing to have in mind is that in the very early stages of, let's say, learning to trade or starting a new strategy, is that you're going to have to put more effort in at the beginning for little or less results. Whereas over time, as you start to compound these subconscious behaviors, and go check out my video from last week as well on things like time blocking and habits and how to be super productive, is that you perform end of days in the evening, you perform your outlooks and your analysis in the morning, you set your kill zones, your key trading times, and you do these things vigorously as a set routine. Therefore, these systems and these processes become subconscious, and therefore the amount of effort that you're putting in now, months down the line, is very little, but the results are then maximized because these results are compounding over time. You're no longer having to stare at the charts for 3 or 4 hours a day. You're no longer having to do so much back testing because that's done at the early stages of your journey. And now all you're doing is you're sitting there waiting for your alerts to set off, for your systems and processes to fall into place, for your trading edge criteria to come to you, and then to execute. So the amount of work you're putting in is less, but the outcome is increased. So think about the amount of effort that you're putting in and following these rules. Number 3 is patience. So many people talk about this, but so many people still either don't follow it because they choose not to, or maybe they just haven't had enough lessons, enough challenges, or haven't lost enough time, money, or energy to be able to actually learn from this lesson. Great things do take time. Again, imagine if you're going to put $100,000 into investing and opening a brand new business. First of all, you've invested a large amount of money that you're going to have to pay someone back, or you're going to have to build and pay yourself back if you invested your own money, and that's going to take time. So any profit that business is generating really is just paying back the lenders. You've also got no track record, you've got no clients, no customers, you've got no goodwill, no reputation. You're starting from zero and hoping that customer base increases and that business performs. Think of it from a trading point of view. Things take time. You go from your learning process, you find a strategy, you learn the strategy, you back test it, you work on your mindset, you go through various phases and challenges and hurdles that bring you back a step. You know, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That process is very, very similar in trading as it is in life and in business as well. So you've got to have that long-term patience. Again, it links to number 1, not having that quick 30 days gonna fix me and I'm gonna get funded by Christmas. That kind of fixed timescale mindset is actually going to just cause more damage than good. Of course, from time to time, you might set yourself a timescale for getting funded. However, what happens if you don't reach that? If you don't reach that, then you're setting yourself unrealistic expectations and you're setting yourself up psychologically to fail, which can then force you into bad habits. And all that's going to do for the long term is decrease pleasure and increase pain. Where what you want to do for the short term is have pain now, as in emotional pain, not making money from trading, but spending unsociable hours getting up early in the morning to do your analysis. It might take you more time at the beginning while you're learning, and then months down the line, it only takes you 3 or 4 or 5 minutes to analyze the markets before you go and do everything else that you need to do during the day. And then when you've finished work, you come back, you want to chill on Netflix, but really, you know, you've got 2 hours of back testing and content watching that you've got to get done. It's all antisocial hours. I did the same. I've got 4 children. During the process of me learning to trade from day 1 to where I am now, I've raised a family. I also had a business for over 12 years. So all of my back testing and my learning on trading was done after the kids were in bed, after the business was looked after the house was clean and tidy and everything. It was always the last thing. So it was always really up early in the morning before anyone else was awake, and also working late in the evenings and setting time aside at the weekends. If I can do it, you can do it too. So think about short-term pain now, but that will invest in long-term pleasure. Number 4 is obviously super crucial. The first 3 key points really have been more from a psychological standpoint, more about mindset and more about building the foundations in place so that you can then add on the technical edge, because without either, you're not going to succeed, right? You can have a really healthy mindset and just no technical edge at all, or you can have the best technical edge in the world and the wrong mindset, and just you won't utilize that system, that edge at all correctly. So following a technical edge and letting probabilities play out over time, it removes a great deal of emotion from your trading. Think about it. Human beings are programmed and wired to think and behave emotionally first, and then you back that up with logic. However, that doesn't work in the markets, right? Because if you think that the markets are falling and emotionally you have fear of missing out and you want to jump in on that trade, your trade plan's out the window, you're not waiting for a run on liquidity, you're just gonna hit sell straight away. You do it, you're acting with emotion. Then afterwards, you're trying to back that emotional decision up with logic while that trade's running. You see the trade coming back into drawdown, you're thinking, oh, but there's a reason why I entered that. I saw momentum dropping to the downside, and you're trying to still convince yourself, even though you know full well that you executed that trade prematurely without your edge playing out. That hits your stop loss. It's a lesson learned. Again, that's why this takes time, because you're going to have to do these things. You're going to have to break your rules in order to learn tough lessons. You can learn from people like me who have experienced the markets for 7 or 8 years. You can learn from mentorships and communities and courses. However, the best lesson is the market, and you've got to have skin in the game, and you've got to be burnt multiple times in order to go, you know what? I know how painful this feels. I'm not going to bend the rules anymore, and I'm going to stay disciplined, even if this means I miss out on some money today. Treat trading like a business and follow systems that you know play out over time. Again, it links with things like discipline and patience. The technical edge is there, and the probabilities play out as long as you stick to the system. The probabilities mean nothing if you're bending the rules. You can't blame a strategy for ending the quarter in drawdown if you've been emotionally trading and bending the rules, because you wouldn't do that in a backtesting scenario. In a backtesting scenario, of course, you can click forward too fast and you go, oh, I've missed that, but you'd go back, right? You wouldn't just skip it, and you surely wouldn't just see the markets go without you in bar replay and then just start sticking buy orders. You would look and you dissect the markets, because you know that you've got time. The market's closed. It's not real life trading, and you're investigating and you're cross-referencing what's happening on the charts with your trade plan and how you could have actually executed on that if it fits your plan. That's the same way that you should be applying to the real life markets and having that technical edge, and over time, letting the probabilities play out. So remember, humans act first with emotion. So following that mechanical edge can help to switch off from that natural human instinct. And now lastly, number 5 is having the winner's mindset. Just like Mark Douglas will say in Trading in the Zone, you can absorb these losses, these losing trades, these drawdown periods, the months where are flat, or the months that you don't end in profit. However, if you have that winning mindset and expand the time horizons to a 3 or 6 or 12 month period and stick to that mechanical edge and let the probabilities play out over time, you have the winning mindset that, okay, in the short term, I'm gonna take hits. Just like if you opened a business, you've got to pay all of your expenses first, taking on all the risk before actually getting the reward. And you don't actually know if, when, or how much profit you're going to make when you run a business, just the same as in trading. In trading, it's more of a game of probabilities than a typical business, because you know that if you have a system, a marketing and advertisement system that works in a business, and you put money and time and consistency into that, you know you will get a return on that investment. However, with trading, it doesn't necessarily mean the more you put in, the more you get out in terms of volume and frequency of trades. However, it's more about patience, discipline, and sticking to that edge that gives you returns over time. And if that means that you end up a few weeks or a few months in drawdown, but at the end of the quarter or the end of the 6 to 12 month period, you are in profit by say 20, 30%, that's where you've won. And that's what you've got to think about, having that winner's mindset. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. These are my top 5 tips for getting funded as a Forex trader, and make sure that you don't miss out any of these key points. Let me know in the comments if you have any other points that you think are just as important or maybe even more important that I haven't covered. Let me know in the comments below, and let me know out of those 5 key topics, are there any of those that you're not implementing yet? And after watching this video, you're going to go and implement straight away. I recommend you go and let me know in the comments. And last of all, just make sure you are subscribed up here somewhere. Watch the video from last week, which will help you on time blocking and being disciplined in your routines. And make sure you're subscribed. I know most of you watching my videos are not subscribed. Just click that bell here and turn those notifications on for weekly videos, weekly free value. As the more this channel grows, the more investment and time I will put into more content. Thanks guys, and see you on the next one.